I feel like the emotional pain of just the tribulations and the trials that we experience as Black women in America has kind of been like stored in my DNA, stored in my body, creating a lot of pain and suffering, both emotionally and physically. And so one of those experiences that really affected me at a soul level beyond relationships, right? Because that's only an aspect of our lives. Was when I was in my 30s. When I was in my 30s, I was in a nursing home. I was in my 30s, sitting in a nursing home, unable to walk, unable to move, unable to even get myself to the bathroom. And I remember thinking, my God, how can this even be possible? So there was a turn of events that landed me in this situation, and none of it made any sense. But in a nutshell, contaminated medicine was injected into my spine, and then the hospital damaged my spine by trying to get samples of my spinal fluid. They damaged it to such a degree that the neurologist said it was never going to go back to normal. And the only option that I had was to remove that section of my spine. And so he said I could do it now or I could do it later, but I was going to have to do it. And he felt like, it's better for you to do it when you're younger, because when you get older and you do it, it's going to be a longer, more difficult recovery period. And so this spinal surgeon was like the best in my state, right? And he was extremely professional, extremely knowledgeable. It was an Indian man. And I really felt like he was looking out for my best interest. He was like, I could go in and I could fix this for you now. And I actually believed him. Like, I felt like he was really genuine. And so I agreed to have the surgery. A lot of people didn't know why I was having surgery. They thought it was like something I could like heal in another way. But when you look at the x-ray of the bones in my spine and you saw that kind of deformity that was there, then you realize there was nothing I could do but remove it. It was never going to go back to normal. Once the bone was damaged and out of place, it could not return to its original state. So I had the surgery, right? And that's how I ended up in the nursing home in my 30s. And I remember sitting in that nursing home. I couldn't even sit up and eat. I couldn't see my children, right? I had one child that was in her last year of middle school. And she was in a private school, and I didn't want to interfere with her schedule. So my mother took care of her. My mother got her to school every day and took care of her every day. And my mother was also sick, but she did it anyway. And then I also had my son. I had a woman that had been babysitting him since he was 6 months old. She took my son and she took care of my son. Between her and my husband, they managed my son. But my mother couldn't take on both because she was sick. And it was just a great discomfort to have to do that. But I didn't have a choice. And so while I'm sitting there, my mother's trying to come in, sit me up, feed me, encourage me to get up. She would come to my room and say, get up and stand up and walk. And I couldn't. But she just kept coming to my room demanding, like, get up. I need you to get up. If you can't get up, I need you to sit up. If you can sit up, I need you to stand up. You need to do whatever you can do. Because she knew the longer I sat and did nothing, the weaker I would get, because she was a nurse for over 40 years. She had seen it. And so my mother would be like encouraging me to get up. And for a while, I couldn't get up. And then one day, I just said, you know what, God, I don't belong here at all. I can't remember. I think what triggered me is they came to my room and they were like, okay, when you're done here, we're going to arrange for you to have a walker. I'm like, a walker? How can I be walking with a walker in my 30s? My mind could not accept that. And so I would just sit there in my room by myself. Say, you know what, God, I can't walk with a walker. Matter of fact, I gotta walk out of here. This can't be my life. Right? And it felt like I was never gonna get out of this joint. I was there with the elderly in physical therapy with the elderly. The old people were like clowning me. Because they're like, oh, look what I can do and look what you can't do. It made them feel good. But I was like, I don't belong here. Something's not right about this. I don't know how all this transpired to get me here, but this is not where I belong. I'm not going to be stuck here. So I would just say, God, you know what? You got to get me up out of here, and I'm not leaving here with no walker either. No, I'm not. So every day I would do what I could, little by little. At first, the goal was just to be able to go to the bathroom that was right next to my bed. And once I could do that, the next goal was to be able to walk around the room. And once I did that, the next goal was to walk from my doorway to the exit door. And then once I could do that, the next goal, I kept creating these goals for myself, you see, because in my mind, I didn't belong there. And so every time I would achieve the goal, I would then extend it. So the next goal was to go out to the garden and sit down. And so once I got to that part where I achieved getting to the garden and sitting down, oh, I cried. I was sitting there with my walker, honey, in the garden, crying. And something began to spill out of my soul, because I did not belong there in a nursing home in my 30s. Something in my soul began to cry out to God. And I was surrounded by elderly people. They were outside in the garden too. And a song poured out of me. I swear. And I didn't care who was watching or who was listening. Everybody in that garden went silent. And do you not know? It was only like a couple of days after that, I walked my ass right out of that nursing home. Yes, I did. But no walker. So, if you find yourself in a situation you feel like something's not right about it, that's not where you're supposed to be, then you're correct. Begin to see in your mind the way out and make little goals to walk your way out of it.